Hey everyone, and welcome to the Reel and Replay channel. Let's jump into some Reel and Replay bites that we had from our most recent trip. As you can see here, back out on the kayak, and next to me, you should be able to see some bluff walls there on my right with this first catch. So we're going to work parallel to this bluff wall. I've got a 1/2 ounce black and blue Strike King football jig with a black and blue Rage Crawl trailer. I've got my 7-foot, 3-inch Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier medium heavy rod paired with a 6/8 to 1 gear ratio Bass Pro Shops Pro Qualifier reel. That's just a rod and reel combination. And then I have 17-pound fluorocarbon tied on there because I want something a little bit heavier duty to be able to pull those fish out. And then I like that 6/8 to 1 gear ratio for the torque. But I'm just going to work down parallel to this rock wall, flip it out there, cast it. A lot of times, especially when it's more summertime and the water's a little bit more riled up from the pleasure boaters, I don't have to be as quiet. You can see that here. It's a lot of traffic on the lake today in this area. So I just make some good long casts, let that jig drop, and then I'm going to hop that thing to where it comes off of the bottom. I'll even drag it. I'll change some things up. I could swim it a little bit. There's a lot of things that you can do with that football jig. And you're going to see here as we progress, we have a really good, violent hook set. That's what we're doing with a jig. When you go to set that hook with a jig, I mean, it's just you just fire down on it and start reeling. It's not like a worm bite. It's not like a crankbait bite. It's just you hammer that thing as soon as it takes it, because more than likely it's going to be a bigger bass. And you can see here that we've got a pretty good sized bass here. This one was a little over 3 pounds, and we'll get maybe some pictures here linked at the end. But one thing you're going to notice is I'm going to go down this bluff wall, and I'm going to stay pretty much parallel to it. Now this bluff wall is going to drop pretty much from where it's shallow, just a few feet up against the rocks, down to about 20 feet plus. And the water temperature on this day was low 80s. I'm fishing later in the evening because as it gets hotter out, I like to go later in the day into the evening, especially with this technique and where I'm fishing. A jig and bluff walls, they kind of go together like PB&J, Oreos and milk, or any other combination that you think is great. It's hard to beat late in the evening this time of year when the water temperature is getting warmer and the bass are looking for some of the deeper water. If you're not fishing bluff walls and using jigs on those bluff walls, you're really missing out. So I challenge you to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down this bluff wall and we're going to make one pass, and then I'm going to make a second pass and even a third pass, just depending on how much time I have. This may be the only section of the lake that I fish that day because I have a lot of confidence in it, and that's something that you cannot get caught up in. Is you need to run all over the lake or go to this place or that place. Sometimes you just need to fish an area pretty good to really truly eliminate that there's no fish there. And so for me, bluff walls and jigs, I've never fished this stretch of bluff wall before, and it just looked really good to me. My imagination ran wild with what could be in the depths of this bluff wall. So I'm gonna I believe I probably made about 3 or 4 passes, and this is the only stretch of the lake in that creek channel area that I got to. And I think I had put in maybe around 3 p.m. and took out around 8. And so for 5 hours, I'm just fishing this bluff wall. And sometimes that's just what it takes, especially if you're not using forward-facing sonar. Like I don't use forward-facing sonar. I'm not going to stare at a screen while I'm fishing, where that's a part of my job and work. I'm not going to do that. I want to be able to use my creativity, my skill sets, looking at my graphs and maps and things that I can pull up, and it's all basic because I've got just basic 2D sonar, Garmin Striker series, small screen. I'm looking at water temperature. I'm looking at the depth, but these bluff wall combinations and using a jig, and I prefer a half-ounce football jig on these rocks. It just really goes through really well. So you can just kind of see I'm going down there, and I've made one pass, and then I'm coming back on this next pass, and then even turning around and coming back, and all of these catches that you're kind of seeing as we're talking through this is just me taking my time and really fishing this bluff wall really, really well. And so we caught, if I was fishing a tournament, I had a limit of fish there already in that time frame, uh, where I could turn those in, and now whether or not I would win a tournament, and I don't fish tournaments, but I'm just saying that is a highly, highly successful area with a highly successful technique in finding bigger bites, not just the small ones. And I can't say enough about bluff walls and jigs. That's my go-to. So if you're not fishing those, just kind of like you've seen here, where we've got some good quality bites. These aren't the biggest fish in the world. We're also not fishing in some of these highly rated lakes and places that people are going and clout chasing. Okay, we're not doing that. We're fishing where we live. We're enjoying the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and we're just getting out of the water and having a good time. So if you're interested in just doing that, and you're not interested in all the other things, then I would really, really recommend fishing these places, these bluff walls, and using jigs. So for me, once again, half ounce black and blue is the way that I go in these Kentucky river systems that we have. We've got a lot of stained water that's not, super clear. But if it is clear, I'm going to go a little bit more with something finessey, like a shaky head, as opposed to a jig. I want a jig to, I want it to make some noise and some vibration, and I want that thing to be violent down there at the bottom, and I want those big bass to be aggressive and attack it. So this is something that I would just say, if you're not doing it, tie that jig on, get to some bluff walls, whether it's a channel swing or not a channel swing, that doesn't matter. Just fish it really, really good and see if you don't run into some bigger bites. And if you watch this video and you do go do this, and like I said, where it's warm now, it's later, go later in the evening, go late in the afternoon, even to the, sun sets into, a couple hours after dark, if you can. Man, it's just a really, really good time to catch some bigger bass using that technique. So appreciate you all stopping by. Be sure you like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. God bless each and every one of you. We'll catch you next time.